video. My greatest fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom and knowledge, is to ever separate myself from the Lord's expectations. Now, I am a faltered human being, but the Lord did show me in visions and dreams separation, outer darkness from his face. You know, your sins separate you. So as you get engrossed or engulfed in sin and rebellion, and I believe your rebellion is what takes you into further sin, like the emotional and mental disparities that we suffer in life, in the world of trials, can make us go and develop strongholds in our life to where we want to escape those realities at times. I call them temporal gratifications, um, where we think that something's alleviating a void in our life, but it's only having us spinning in the threshold of darkness, because when we're done with that gratification, we don't feel better, and we actually feel more remorse because we're like, I shouldn't have done that, or I know that, but then those strongholds can become minute to you in your mind when you keep repeating those same strongholds. You'll finally, then you'll start to justify them. You'll no longer see them as error. You'll just accept and settle into that darkness and be like, well, I'm not fighting this battle anymore. This is just something I'll have to deal with. Like, say, someone that smokes cigarettes, and they do it when they're emotionally distraught, and they know it's making them sick. So instead of fighting that battle, they'll get an inhaler. They'll be actively dying, but they'll settle into that darkness and get an inhaler or oxygen, or, but would never give up that darkness. That's just an example, because not everybody's stronghold's the same. Some people have different vices. Some people's shopping, some people's eating, some people's looking for love in all the wrong places. I just want to carnally implore the realities, the physical realities, as a carnal person, because I speak a lot of spiritual person. I speak a lot of biblical scriptures, because there's nothing new under the sun. So the Lord always reprimands me about, I make videos about biblical truths, and I also make videos about physical endeavors that line up with scriptural truths. So just like most of the prophets did, when the Lord reveals all things, the difference between me not just being physically mature, but spiritually mature too, because I can look back in the biblical doctrine and line it up to all the realities of this world, all the false religions, all the fallings away. Like the golden calf is the idols in your heart, which, what do you ever idolize? And sometimes the desensitization of one's heart, people's hearts and minds will fail them for the things that come upon this earth, are the trials that you succumb to in life. It takes you back, draws you away from God. And then you develop these idols in your heart, like evil desires, like King Solomon. He lusted after women, so he destroyed his own temple. He was the temple, and then he had rebellious people within that temple that was correlating to his desires. He was drawing in people that were willing to operate the way he wanted him to, and they were willing participants. That's what we talk about. Hiram Abi, the cunning hireling. He hired cunning people that worked in gold, who worked in silver. This is the people in our monetary system that become cunning in their endeavors. And we pick up the same traits, because the world marvels after it implores their way of life onto you. So I'm in the world, not of the world. There's just things I don't no longer desire at this cross. And if the Lord reveals to you the truth, because like knowing, being under the devil's schemes, being wise as a serpent, knowing how the enemy works is one of the most important things, because there's people that don't even believe there is an enemy. There's people that don't even believe in Sheol. There's people that don't believe in anything. There's people, I'm like, Lord, what if they don't never heard the truth of the gospel, and if they don't believe in something, how will they find you, Father? I worry about these things. Well, you shouldn't worry about that. Why do you sit home and worry about this stuff all day? It's none of your business. Or, just the carnal-minded people that it. But if you have the love of Christ in you, it becomes your business. Because we know as a watchman on the wall, we're supposed to warn people. If we warn a wicked person to turn from their ways, or can bring truth or enlighten someone, or bring love into their life, that's our responsibility. And so I'll catch myself, correcting myself, because when you're living at the cross, that's why it says we fight the good fight of faith. Other people are not. You're going to have to deal with their rebellious nature, their carnal mind, and just simple questions like, what did he say? Where I catch myself, I'm like, I'm not doing that. Never mind what he said, because then I go back into my old way, like, bridle your tongue in front of a wicked person. Gossiping was a wicked person, Lord, because I'm like, wait a minute, that's causing conflict. That's causing conflict that I can't partake. And these are little details that I think about now, whereas, because what if someone's struggling a battle that day? I'm not saying it's correct. I'm not in agreement with their behavior, and then they could be trying to fight faith to overcome that, and then I'm part of their problem. And I could throw them further in the darkness. So I'm cautious. I'm very cautious of how I treat others. I have to be. Or what I say. And I'm not saying that their behavior is appropriate, but I'm not going to be the one that goes into darkness with them. This is why the Lord was a man of few words, because we learn not to speak on certain things. We request it to that person, but we don't make a big ordeal. We don't cause a bunch of conflict or confusion into an environment, like repeating the things that occurred. Like I tell people, if someone does something to you, tell that person, not 3 other people, because those 3 other people can't correct this behavior. If you tell that person, though, warn a wicked person turn from his ways, and then you gain a relationship of trust to where they know that, even if they're acting bad, I'm not agreeing with it, but I'm just saying they'll know that you handle it appropriately. You'll have more respect. You'll have dignity. You have morale with that person, even if they're bad. That's what it says. Even your enemies will be at peace with you, because you're trying to address things appropriately. So, and you're not, not making a hostile environment. So these are things that I consider, and that's my greatest fear, is to put myself in a position to where I'm throwing myself into condemnation. Every idle word and action goes in judgment. There's a lot of things this worldly person doesn't even consider, but they can't until the Lord touches them. They don't know how to consider it because they've just become complacent in the fallen world they live in, and that worries me. That's why I pray for so many people. That's why I talk about the Lord. It says mockers and scoffers will come, but it's not funny when He's delivered you out of the unacceptable, or defiled life, or rebellious life. Like I think look back at some of the relationships that I accepted or tried to maintain that were very unhealthy for me. Say I haven't sinned as a lie, whom I was chief, but He delivered me from those desires. He delivered me from those ungodly soul ties. He delivered me from rebellion. He delivered me from having a wretched tongue, being a wretched sinner. And I don't think I'm better than anybody. People say that to me all the time. I'm like, for someone to say that and you're walking uprightly, that just blows my mind, because I'm like, wow, they don't know how to value a good person. Their mind becomes so corrupted. They don't value your worth. And I'm like, it's not so crazy to respect other people, not to use profanity, not to be perverse, not to talk corrupt. I thought people wanted to be loved. That's the human desire, unconditional. Unconditional, not with stipulations or expectations. Just be kind to somebody because you are a kind person with no motive, just because that's who you are.